it probably is a good idea, since I'm running currently a party member behind, to go ahead and pick up Garrick again, literally just to have an extra bow. And then we're going to drop him off later when we pick up another party member. Now we just need to make sure he actually has an extra bow. Yep, he comes equipped with a crossbow. We also need to get a bow for Kagan. In case you were wondering, there is a lot of loot to pick up around Beregost. A lot of loot. However, since for the most part we're not going to be able to pick up a lot of it to begin with because we don't have a thieving up high enough.
Kiss me, blarney. What you wish done?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to Beregost at some point after... some point between streams, basically. It probably won't be after this stream because we're going to be in a different location. But we're going to come back to Beregost after a stream, off stream, so you guys don't have to sit through me looting everything. Now, I seem to recall, let me double check here. I seem to recall Kagan is proficient in crossbows. Yes, he is.
I can make whatever you wish for a wee little bit more than me competition.
I clicked on show me your goods. I am also, since I've got plenty of gold right now, going to go ahead and pick up Magic Sling for Jaheira to give her a little bit of extra looms. Unfortunately, you cannot sell slings back. They are not worth enough money to sell. We'll pick up a heavy crossbow for Kagan. And pick up a nice full quiver for him. So this is going to give us plenty of ranged oomph. We're not going to pick up any plate mail just yet. Now real quick, let me show you some of the fun things you can pick up here from the Thunderhammer Smithy. So he does not carry any magical longbows like Feld posted, but he does have the short bow here that makes a good pickup for Imawin later. But right now, we're just a little light on gold for it. He's got this dagger +1, but that's not the prize as far as daggers here. Other than that, he's got lots of +1 ammo for you to pick up. A +1 quarterstaff for any mages. +1 short sword to also probably go to Imawin later. In addition, he's got lots of magic arrows. So we got both arrows of ice and arrows of biting and +2 arrows. So we've got plenty in the range department there. We've got some magical leather armor, another good one for Imawin to get later. However, I usually don't pick it up for her because I don't have much in the way of characters who are going to need leather armor. You might be thinking that Jaheira might want to get some magical leather armor since she's a druid, but we've actually got some better armor we're going to be picking up for her. But this is a prize. This can go on Ajantis, it can go on Kagan, or it can go on either of the two gentlemen that we're going to meet later. We've also got great armor for a pure thief, but we're not going to be running pure thief. And then we've got these two prizes. The army scythe basically lets a character who is specialized in crossbows fire their crossbow at the same speed that a bow can be fired at. So the army scythe isn't necessarily the best pickup because we're not going to be using crossbows a whole heck of a lot. We might still pick it up later depending on how much gold we have left. And then we've got this bad boy, the Dagger of Venom. You do not have to be evil to use the Dagger of Venom in this game. You just have to be able to equip it. And it does 1 point of poison damage per second for 15 seconds. Yeah, that is a lot of damage if your opponent fails that save. If you get a lot of attacks in, and happen to have specialization in daggers, This dagger can easily drop most of the enemies you will run into in this game. So we are definitely going to want to pick up this dagger later, and it's going to be our main frontline weapon for Jaheira. Unfortunately, for now, we broke. And real quick, I'll show you this chest here. Requires a hefty strength score or a really good open lock score to pick open, but it has a magical bastard sword in it that you can either equip to a frontline fighter or save for later. So real quick, let's deck out. I love Kagan's helmet, by the way. I know many people who would pick up Kagan just to have access to the helmet. By the way, in case you're wondering why I occasionally flip like that, it's just to make it so that this weapon is the one that they're currently equipped without having to change it on their character tab. Just a useful thing to do if you're already in the inventory screen going through equipment. This, I believe, by the way, is the actual, intended to be the road down south, but you can hit the road down south from any point. All right. So there is going to be a little bit of backtracking here, but for now, we're just going to try to get through this area. All right. So this looks like a grisly scene. We'll click attack. Make sure everyone is using a ranged weapon. Currently, Jantis is not. And broken.
It will be done.
And now we pull up our next pull. Any more? Anyone else got something to say? Oh, I really should put Kagan closer to the front lines than that. And then we loot a scroll. So now we have one more encounter that is of real note in here.
Go pester someone. Why me?
Ah, grumpy Kagan. He's one of the few evil characters I really like because although he can be quite a bit terse, as many dwarves are, Kagan always struck me as more of a grumpy character than a rude or obnoxious character. And to me, I find that just a little bit more fun than some of the more blatantly... Oh, that's useful. Alright, so even now we're fighting another archer. So he's going to be able to pick at us from afar. Now that being said, we could run a melee character up to him and force him to switch to a melee weapon. The problem is if there are more archers behind them, they will then all be able to open fire on my party. So even though it's easier to fight archers up close, it is still mostly in your interest to try to proc as little of the encounter as possible at any given time. And now we have Zhurlong's boots. Got a scroll of charm person too. That's a nice little haul. And like I said, you probably do not want to pick up all of the gear off of an enemy. You're just going to want to pick up specific things such as jewelry or magical items. Now, it should be noted that right now we're experiencing a minor bug. I'm not sure what causes it, but basically this combat music that's currently looping through it is normally supposed to quit out and return to environmental music after a while. So in here, we've just got some free gear that we can pick up, because it's always good to have more healing potions. We'll just give them all to Kagan for now. And then we will quickly work our way back over here. And like I said, we have a little bit of backtracking to do since we're still currently directly south of Beregost. God, makes you wonder what might have happened here. I built a house, and then it sunk into the swamp. Unfortunately, it looks like this person gave up after the first house. Learned, maybe I don't want to actually try to build a house in a swamp. Talk to this little kid. That's racist. Actually, I shouldn't joke about that. But it does bring back some of the interesting things on how certain racial things occasionally slip into these games. They try to actually depict how in many of these circumstances a lot of these races will actually have like racial slang that they will make for the people that they don't like. It's kind of realistic, and at the same time it's also a little on the disturbing side in my opinion. Out of curiosity, is the town crier here yet? He's usually dressed in black. Ah, here he is. This is going to let us know about a couple of quests, such as the quest to find Bacillus. You can also find out about quests if you don't feel like talking around town too much. You can also find out about quests by going to any bar and clicking on the Rumors tab. Basically, for paying for a drink, you then get to hear about certain quests that might be in the area sometimes. So, now we get to do something else fun. So, most NPCs that are quest givers, when you encounter them and you turn in their quest, they will usually make for the hills. Which is to say, their character sprite will wander a little bit, usually towards an exit, and then fade off of the screen. Well, sometimes you don't want them to do that. Such as Zhurlong here. I'm not happy that he stole from me. So we're going to talk to him.
I wish I had my old tobacco.
He's going to give us a reward. Plus, he does give us the money he took from our pockets earlier. So really, I got 125 gold pieces. I'm going to hit end and quickly pause the game. I'm going to make sure everybody's selected. Preferably with ranged weapon available. Now he's aggroed. He can still fade if we don't kill him fast enough. You'll note I suffered no reputation loss because no one particularly cares that Zhurlong is dead. He must have probably stolen from a lot of people. Get the boots back that we just gave him as a quest, gave him for his quest reward. And then we leave. Yay for gaming the system.
All right.
Like I said, it generally helps to play a good character, but that doesn't mean there aren't times when being a little mercenary isn't to your benefit. Now we have another quest turn in. Yes, they are boots. They are boots of stealth. They call them the Worn Whispers. Interesting little feature they added in to the Enhanced Edition is almost all of the magic items now have a fancy name. But in the original Baldur's Gate, they were just boots of stealth. Now we can talk to Mirianne. Actually, hold on. I'm doing something stupid. we're going to talk to her with the Paladin. And now she gives us a Ring of the Princes, aka a Ring of Protection +1. And we're going to give this to my main character to boost his AC. I say boost, but it's really a negative. And with that, really quickly, I probably should finally explain a mechanic. So, for those of you not familiar with the AD&D 2nd Edition system, you might be wondering why the heavily armored character has an armor class of 3, or why good frontline fighters have a low THAC0. Well, that is because in 2nd Edition, THAC0 stood for to hit armor class 0. And the calculation's actually really easy. You take your THAC0, and you subtract the armor class of your target. So if you've got a THAC0 of 16, and your target has an armor class of 5, you subtract it, you get an 11. So you have to roll an 11 or more on a d20 to hit the target. It's actually really simple. But because you're doing a subtraction, that means lower armor class is better. And because they wanted to represent it as a to-hit roll, that means also that lower THAC0 is better. The same is also true of your saving throws. They actually indicate your saving throw by the target number you want to roll. So the lower the better. Damage, of course, is still roll higher, and rolling higher is better. So for many of these things, you want to roll high, but have the stat as low as possible. This means that you actually can get a negative AC if you keep getting it lower and lower with bonuses. And in fact, I believe full plate armor has a default AC of -1, I think. It's either -1 or 0. So anytime you see a bonus, however, and I can't do it because I don't have the Ring of the Princes identified, it's still going to list it as a bonus. But the bonus actually subtracts. So if that starts getting confusing, you're not alone. That part did confuse a lot of gamers. So yeah, there's Sacco and AC. The mystery, the great mystery of AD&D 2nd Edition. To be fair, the THAC0 and AC system had existed since the white box, so might have existed since the red box. I'm not sure. I think they used a slightly different system in the red box. I'd have to go back and check. It's been a long time since I played anything from the red box. All right, and with that, we continue on our way. We've got one more major encounter in this area. And it's a bit of a doozy. But it is also, as I said earlier, very profitable. And that's why I wanted to bring Garrick, even if all he is an extra crossbow.
I serve the flaming fist.
Alright, so we have Flaming Fist soldiers. And they think we're bandits. Yeah. So, we can very easily talk our way out of this fight. We don't get anything for talking our way out of the fight. But there's no penalty for actually fighting them. So, here's the question. Do you see these sprites on the screen as confused NPCs, or do you see them as loot and EXP bags? So, yeah. If you want to fight, oh, we'll give you a fight. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have everyone focus in on this gentleman here. I'm actually going to go into my inventory, and I'm going to swap out gear with Kagan and Ajantis and have them fighting on the front lines with their best AC. Okay. Jaheira, on the other hand, is going to make this fight a lot easier. If I don't get myself caught in the radius. Ah. I just missed it. So now Jaheira's going to have to turn and fight. Okay, Kagan's taking a nice chunk of damage there. So we're going to back him up and use one of our potions. And we're actually going to walk him around. Keep this guy on his merry chase. Uh-oh, that's not good. The guy decided not to give merry chase anymore. Back in the original version of this game, enemies would give merry chase to whoever they targeted forever. So you literally could just send someone in, aggro enemies, and have them run around the screen while your archers pick them off. But since then, they have changed the AI and the pathing for the enemies, making them a lot more likely to give up.
I need an ale.
Alright, Kagan is healed. We'll bring him back in to join the primary target. And we'll play musical targets with the guy who walked into our back line here.
With joy, sir.
Do you want to tell me a story about my blade will cut you down to size?
Alright, first target gone.
Yes? Not a problem.
Alright, let's deal with the one fighting Jaheira.
Evil must be purged without for the glory of Helm.
I stand with ease.
Gotta be careful I don't get myself trapped by the entangle spell I whiffed. Okay, I think it's time to take Jaheira out of the fight for a second.
It will be done.
Oh, never mind. Target gone.
My
All right.
honor is my life.
So now we'll have everyone focus in on him,
It will be done.
and I'll have him walk him towards the actual frontliners.
I am with joy, sir.
Good on I'm gone.
Helm, give me
And now it should just be cleanup. And that is the basics of Baldur's Gate. If it reminds you at all of playing real-time strategies, I think that Black Isle took a lot of inspiration from real-time strategy games when developing this engine. So now, what was that prize? We only got 15 experience apiece for them. A lot of trouble for so little experience. Well, our prize is this. Plate mail. Yeah. Lovely, lovely plate mail. I'm also going to steal another one of those helmets.
I don't want to talk.
We sell all three suits of plate mail at once, and it's going to be worth a nice pretty penny. Even with the reputation hit we're currently taking to our shop sales. We'll give them all to my main character for now, so that they can be easily carried. Actually, let's see, Jantis already has plate mail, but now we can give plate mail to Kagan. As you can see, my character's got one of the higher capacities thanks to his nice big strength score. So, unfortunately, we can have Jaheira equip the plate mail, but she will lose access to her druid spells if we do that. So we are not going to do that. Of course, if I keep whiffing my entangle spells, then that's not going to be much help to us anyway. We will skirt around the effect of the entangle, which I think is actually a pretty cool effect. I think it's a lot cooler than the web effect that they have in the game. And we are ready to head further south. Hey guys, it's Divine Erdrick. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more content coming soon. You can also follow me at twitch.tv/derdrick or on Twitter at Divine Erdrick. Thanks again.